Welcome everyone to the Vested Interest channel. This is Shane, and we are going to wrap up the dividends and options that we received in November in this video. We are about a week into December already. Haven't covered the recap that we typically do, so that's what this video is going to be about. And if you like this type of content, if you are a dividend growth investor or an investor in general, hit all of those buttons down below. Hit the like, subscribe, click that notification bell, drop a comment down below. Let me know what dividends and options you were in November. And how is your portfolio doing? We had a pretty good week last week, but this week, down a little bit, at least in my portfolio. Let me know what's going on in yours. All right, first up, the dividends we received, and they started rolling in on November 3rd. We received dividends from AT&T and Verizon. Ticker T, AT&T, out of the communication sector, paid us $113.69. This is not one I've been adding to. I think I'm up about 55, almost 60% on this one, so we're kind of holding on this one. Verizon, I have been nibbling when it's under my cost basis of around $41. If it drops back into the $30 range, I might nibble a little bit more. And added a couple more shares here not too long ago when it did just that. Verizon is also out of the communication sector. They paid us $262.90. Owens Corning on November 6th, Thursday there, they paid us $57.38. Owens Corning, on the other hand, this one is one I have been adding to pretty consistently. It is on my stocks to buy for December list, trying to get this to 100 shares. It is under my cost basis of around $118. Excuse me, dropped into the $90 range there briefly. Was able to grab a couple shares there, but we've been adding to this one and will continue to do so as long as it's under that $118 range. Owens Corning is out of the industrial sector. Now we jump to Friday the 14th. Enterprise Product Partners, ticker EPD, paid us $279.54. EPD is out of the energy sector, and if I didn't mention it, we do have the drip set on all of these positions. So anytime a company does pay out or shares get paid out, dividends get paid out, they get reinvested right back into the same position. So Enterprise Product Partners pays us $279.54. We buy more shares of Enterprise Product Partners automatically. I don't have to do anything. We have the DRIP set, which stands for Dividend Reinvestment Plan. All right, now next up on Monday the 17th, Omega Healthcare Investors, ticker OHI, paid us $211.53. And again, that goes right back in and picks up more shares of OHI. And OHI is a REIT out of the real estate sector. And then to wrap up the month, Procter & Gamble paid us $107.83. And this is another one that we would have been nibbling on whenever it's below 150. Finally got this to over 100 shares not too long ago. I think last month in November, actually, we hit over that 100 shares. Might have been late October, early November, right in that time frame. Finally got over to 100 shares there. And this is another one where I may nibble a little bit if it drops below that $150 range. $107.83 from Procter & Gamble. So really out of the list, Verizon if it's under 40, Owens Corning under 118, and Procter & Gamble under 150. Those would be the three that I'm looking to add to. The rest of them, AT&T is up. Enterprise Product Partners is up quite a bit. If this one dropped back significantly, I'd like to add there. And Omega Healthcare Investors, that one's well above my cost basis. I think, again, I'm up about 55% on that one, not one I've been adding to. But total dividends received for the month of November, $1,032.87. All right, and as you can see here, there's the updated $1,032.87 for November, which brings us to $11,481.21 received in dividends so far for 2025. Obviously, we have December left. So we'll probably bust over that $12,000 mark for this year as far as dividends received, which is a little bit lower than what our projected dividends received for next year will be, which is inching closer to that $14,000 mark. But we'll see what December brings. I believe we'll get over that $12,000 mark, maybe $12,500, somewhere in there, right in there. And then you can also see the different months that the dividends get paid out. January's payouts are again in April, again in July, and again in October. February's payouts are again in May, August, and then this past month in November. And then March, that's the payout month that we're in right now. March paid in June, September, and then they will be again paying in December. $11,481.21. We do have the drip set, but if we were to turn off the drip, obviously we could use this to pay a significant amount of our bills throughout the year. My mortgage, we do have one car payment. My wife just got a car this year whenever she left her job there with General Motors. which they had provided our car before. So we could certainly turn off the drip and pay a significant amount of our monthly bills if we needed to. But for now, we have the drip set, which means we reinvest the dividends into the portfolio. All right, options. We didn't have a great month in options. We only had the one contract there right at the end of the month. Lamb Research, one covered call with $160 strike price. We received 45 cents per share. After their fees amounts to $44.47. So there are the updated months, right? Total, there's November's 44.97, not as well as October's, but not our worst month. January was obviously still our worst month at $9.45. Total options received for the year so far, $1,328.79. We'll see what happens in December. I don't think we're going to get quite to 2,000 there, but maybe we get over 1,500 in options for the year. All right, so November's total cash flow with dividends and options added together there, $1,077.43. And again, all of this gets reinvested back in the portfolio. We do have the drip set. The options get reinvested in the same week that we receive them. So this does go back into the portfolio along with our new capital for the month. But if we were to turn it off, that's what we would have been able to utilize for whatever we wanted. You know, maybe take a small vacation or pay down some debt, pay down some bills, whatever we needed to. Total dividends to date, we already saw $11,481.21. Total options, $1,328.79. And if we add this together, our total cash flow to date is $12,810, which again, we could turn off the drip, stop reinvesting the options premium, and utilize that for whatever we needed to. Maybe put a little bit of extra cash into the bank or pay down some debt, pay down some bills, whatever we need. All right, for this slide, we typically like to show our year-over-year increase, but as you can see here, this is one of the few times that we saw a decrease from last year, down 0.03% from last year's payout of $1,067.64. There's the $1,032.87 we received. So slightly down here. If you do recall, I did reallocate some funds. We sold out of some positions earlier in the year, reallocated some funds. So this is part of the results of that. You also saw it back in July. It happened here back in April. We reallocated some funds, sold out of some positions that weren't doing very well. Actually, I think it was April, May, and maybe even into June a little bit that we rebalanced the portfolio a little bit. And this is the result. So we did see a little step back here, and it wasn't the first time this year. We saw a step back in July as well. And then one other time the portfolio has done that was way back here in 2023. From 2022's payout, we had a big drop down as well. So that may happen from time to time. Sometimes that just happens because a payout slides into another month, especially with companies that pay towards an end of the month. Sometimes if that falls on a weekend, they might slide into the following month. But this really here, and July's drop as well, was a result of rebalancing the portfolio, selling out of some position, buying some new ones. Google, you saw, we picked up. Lamb Research, we picked up. Sold out of companies like LyondellBasell and a couple others that were high dividend payers, and bought into a couple that were faster dividend growth, but definitely lower starting dividend yield. And again, this is part of that result. Now, I do not anticipate this continuing for very much longer. Maybe we have one more month where we see a downtrend, but overall, we should see what we see in typical months is nice stair step up increases year over year, month over month, quarter over quarter, right? There's that drop back in 2023. And then we've had two so far, this one in November and this one back in July. Two drops this year from some of the rebalancing that we did this year. So not a huge downturn, but a downturn from last year nonetheless. So I do like to show that so you can see what a real portfolio is supposed to look like over time. For the most part, you should see this nice stair step up. Obviously, some of those stairs are quite larger than others, but should see a nice progressive growth of that dividend payout over time. And that's what this particular slide here is trying to show you. All right, that is it for me on this one. How did your payouts increase from last year's payouts if you've had your portfolio for that long? Or are you seeing dividend growth? Have you rebalanced your portfolio at all? What are some of the new positions maybe you've added? What are some of the ones that you've sold out of? Would love to hear from you in the comment section down below. That wraps up November. We're on into December, and then we're on into 2026. That's right. A new year coming very quickly here as we wrap up 2025. Let me know what's going on in your portfolio. Again, we did have a bit of a down week in my portfolio this past week after a very nice week the previous week. That's the nature of owning individual positions, owning ETFs. They have ups and downs. There's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the market cycles. Don't be freaking out whenever you see those red days. If you've done your due diligence, you've bought shares in good companies at decent prices, the best possible prices that you can. Whenever you see those red days, if they're still good companies and their fundamentals haven't changed, you should be doubling down on those positions and buying more. Hopefully you are taking advantage of some of these dips whenever they happen. And that is really it for this one. As always, appreciate you stopping by. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to show me some love. Hit that thumbs up. Ring the notification bell. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Join us on this journey to financial freedom. Join the vested interest community. And I do personally read and respond to the comments. I'm always interested to read your questions. So if you have any questions about my portfolio, my process, my overall goals, go ahead and drop them down below. I'll try to respond whenever I get some time. And if you have any opinions or suggestions for dividends you'd like me to cover in, let's say, the stock pick of the day series that I typically do Monday through Thursday, though I have missed a day or two here or there from time to time. I wasn't able to get to it Thursday. I worked late, actually almost till 10 o'clock on Thursday, so I did not get a video out. But we'll be back at it next week. So if you have a company you'd like me to cover in the stock pick of the day series, you can drop that in the comment section down below as well. I'll work it into the rotation on the day it pulls back. And this is Shane signing off, wishing peace and prosperity to you and yours. And remember, financial security comes to those who take a vested interest. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you in the next one. Don't forget to tune back in tomorrow. We'll have our portfolio update video where we will cover what we added to the portfolio this week, any dividends we received, any options we were in. We do that every Sunday as well. So again, if you're interested in that type of content, if you're a dividend growth investor or an investor in general, hit all of those buttons down below, the notification bell. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that thumbs up if you find any value in the content, and drop a comment below on your way out. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing in this presentation should be considered financial advice. I'm only sharing my opinion in investing journey of educational and entertainment purposes. Investing involves risk. You can't lose money. You should never invest any amount you're not comfortable losing. Always do your own research. Invest based on your situation, circumstances, and select criteria, or seek the advice and counsel of a certified financial advisor.